Good morning, everybody. It's Christmas Eve morning here at the Youth Center, and we're happy to bring back our podcast. We've had a crazy fall, and haven't actually been able to post any podcasts, but we're back on this great day on a great topic, and hopefully we'll be back over the next couple of weeks. We're going to try to do the podcast every other week or so. So today is a special podcast on a very special day. My guest today is Molly Malandrino, affectionately known this time of year as our Christmas Queen for the Holiday Drive. Welcome to the podcast, Molly.
Hi, thanks for having me.
For people who don't know anything about our Christmas Drive, we are in actually the 30th year of doing a holiday drive. What started in 1989 with myself and Kelly Crimmins servicing 4 families on Christmas Eve around 5 o'clock. We'll actually be able to provide 4 families with their children with a number of presents, a Christmas tree and a wreath. In 1989, we decided, how do we build this program? And over the last 30 years, it has grown to an unbelievable level. And we're going to hear a lot from Molly on that, about how many families, how many kids we service, the involvement from the community, how they're involved in sponsoring and supporting, and people like Terry Holland from Stacci's Pizza, who feed all of our volunteers on the delivery day. To fully understand Molly, we need to go back over the last 30 years, and in that period of time, I was very fortunate to have my one employee at that time, Kelly Crimmins, who for 10 years kind of helped build this program to what it is right now. Over the years, we've had a number of other people that have taken on the role of Christmas Queen. Some of those people are Christine Holbrook, Danielle Yutano, Jen Conway, Bree Hart, Kristen Hardacre, Michelle Grasso, Michaela Tetro, and then most recently, for the last 6 years, Molly Malandrino has been our Christmas Queen. The last 2 years, she's had some great help from our former employee, Laura Stevens, who's actually been involved with the drive for the last couple of years. Molly, thanks for coming in today. And can you tell our listeners who may not know you, your time that you worked here, either as a part-time employee or as a full-time employee, who is Molly Malandrino and why the Christmas Drive?
I guess just one of the most important things to know about me is that I've been involved in a lot of things at the youth center, and that the holiday drive is my absolute favorite program that I've been able to be a part of. It's just been a program, like you said, that I've been involved in for many years, beyond the 6 that I've been running the drive. I started in high school and in college helping out with Jen with organizing some of the gifts, and I've been lucky to be able to take it over, make it my own, and help for the past 6 years as coordinating the entire drive.
So a lot of our people do know the times that you spent here as our support services coordinator and obviously as a part-time person. You've said that the Christmas Drive is your passion, your love, something you've been doing since you've been here, and obviously the last 6 years. Why the Christmas Drive in terms of, why for you? That's what keeps coming you back. You're a guidance counselor over at Lawrence High now, doing unbelievable work with the kids at Lawrence. But this is something that come September, you're really involved with getting this going. Why do you keep coming back?
I think just my favorite part about the holiday drive is the magic behind it, and that it's really been a program here at the youth center that a lot of people don't know about, and it's just something that we do under the radar. The youth center never gets a lot of credit for it. Town doesn't even really know that we have this amazing program, and we've just really been able to keep this going for 29 years without a lot of media or a lot of attention around it. It just provides for so many families, and it's something that, the youth center and myself, we hold very close to our heart. So that's just what keeps me coming back.
And you bring up a great point. We struggle with the media piece on this because over the years, the Tribune and our North Andover Citizen, as well as other articles by media outlets, have basically wanted to kind of focus on the family that's being serviced. And obviously, our program is anonymous. We don't like to highlight the families that are being serviced, and that sometimes we can't trust that the media services will actually do this without kind of just highlighting on the family itself and the troubles that they may be having in this year. So it is kind of low-key. I think we do need to do a better job of making sure everybody in the community knows about it. It is amazing. We'll get to the sponsorship piece, but it's amazing how many parents and families in town don't really know what we're doing on this. So when does this whole process start? I mean, we finish up a crazy summer here, we go to Labor Day, and then we start thinking about Christmas?
Yeah, we start thinking about Christmas in the first weeks of September. Applications start going out by the end of September, so really in the beginning of September is when I start to prepare materials for both the sponsors and the families.
And take us through that. So how does that actually get started? And take us through, how people get on the list, or how, with some great elves we have throughout the community and the school department and social groups or whatever, identifying some of these people.
Yeah, there's a lot of support from the town or background people who aren't necessarily always acknowledged, but they help me a ton in assisting the families and making sure we're reaching the right families for the drive. If a family wants to be part of our holiday gift drive, they can apply themselves. So come into the youth center, grab an application. They can email me. Also the schools, so some of the counselors and the nurses at the schools will provide me names of kids in need within their school. And then we have some other people in town who have just been really helpful in identifying others in their area that might be in need, or maybe like the housing authority will help us out just identifying the correct families.
And we can't thank everybody by name in this podcast, but you do have a couple of people that you couldn't do this without, such as our friend down at the Thompson School and down at Woodridge Homes. How about a little shout out for them?
Can I say by name?
Sure.
Yeah, Kathy O'Neill at the Thompson School has really been a backbone in helping the youth center identify families in need, and she's been really generous in identifying kids across all schools, not just at her own school. So we're super grateful to her and her collaboration with us. And then my lovely friend Cindy Ward has been super helpful to the youth center, even much longer than I was at the youth center, and we're so grateful to have her help us out in identifying families in her own community and her own network that need our support, and she's been with us for many years.
Yeah, there are two great people there, and obviously many, many other people that help us put this together. So as I said, when we first started, it came down to, maybe some people dropping off presents, more like a Toys for Tot thing. And then early on in the first few years of this, Kelly actually created this sponsorship program where we had families that wanted to help out other families. We use the line here at the youth center many, many times called North Andover taking care of North Andover, and this is a perfect example. Explain to people what this whole sponsorship piece is. I mean, we get tremendous credit the day we deliver the presents, and everybody thinks it comes from us personally in the youth center. And tell us, how that really happened with the sponsorship program, because they are the people that are really doing the presents.
Yeah, the sponsors have kept this program alive for as many years as it's been going on, and we have sponsors who fill out applications, which identify how many kids they want to sponsor, maybe what ages they're interested in sponsoring, and they fill out those applications and get them back to me. Over the years, sponsorship has grown to, businesses in town. Maybe a group of people will sponsor. So like the PTOs through most of the schools have started to sponsor children, or some of our groups here at the youth center, the kids fundraise money to sponsor other children. So it's been a great network of people just reaching out and coming together to sponsor other kids or families in town.
And we have some people that have been sponsors actually for almost 2 decades. I saw the NAYRS family come in on drop-off day, and I think they've been there since the beginning. And then we obviously every year have a new group of sponsors also, whether it be people that have heard it from the streets or our board of directors or whatever. I always describe the delivery day, which we had on Saturday, as the best day at the youth center. I would have to say the second best day at the youth center is the day that the sponsors actually drop off their gifts, and it's usually held on a Saturday morning between the hours of 9 and 1 at the youth center. The place is crazy because we got our basketball program going on, and we got all these people bringing bags and bags of gifts. About what's that day all like for you and the people that help us, and maybe just some quick stories of the sponsors themselves when they walk in.
Yeah, that day is really special. It's super meaningful for all the sponsors to be able to come here and see all the gifts donated in the room. So we, get the Christmas music going. We just try to make everyone feel in the Christmas spirit or the holiday spirit. Sponsors get to come upstairs. They get to drop their gifts. We are chatting. It's a really just big day where you can tell that people are excited to be here. There's kids running around the building just checking out the gifts, and it's just a way like sponsors can show their children how many gifts are being donated, or they themselves can see how many children are in the drive. And I think it's just a really humbling day, and everyone loves to come down that day. So it's been a very special time for us throughout the drive.
We try to give 2 weeks period of time before the drop off and the actual delivery date. This year we actually had 2 weeks. Some years we're actually hovering on 1 week. But it is an incredible day. But take our people through. We were actually chronicling it through our social media every day, what the multi-purpose room was looking like as it was growing with presents and the bags being organized, etc. That 2 weeks, which I don't think people realize, that you work a full-time job at Lawrence High School, you come back here at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and meet up with some of our other volunteers, which tend to be some of our college kids that are home, and obviously Laura Stevens was huge this year. What's it like for the 2 weeks of actually organizing everything?
Yeah, those 2 weeks is super fun for all of us that get to be in the multi-purpose room. Basically what we end up doing is we are looking through all the gifts, which come in wrapped. They come in with sticky notes that just say the family code, the child's code, and what's inside of the gift. So we basically just individually go through all the gifts, make sure the wrapping is perfect. Sometimes things need to be rewrapped because when they get brought in, they might be torn, or we just make sure each kid has the same amount of gifts, that each kid got some necessary items, maybe clothes or personal care products, and then they got some fun stuff too, like toys or a sled. The volunteers and myself, we work on going through each and every gift and labeling them to the child and from Santa. And it's a super special part of this program is that the families don't have to rewrap or label any of the gifts. They're just ready on delivery day to be put under the tree. So it takes us a long time to do this for all those kids, but it's really important.
Sure. It is crazy, those 2 weeks, and an amazement with you and all the kids that help us put it together. Couple of quick things. We had, and we won't obviously identify these people, but we've had a couple of people that we've serviced over the years that have actually come back and be sponsors. Like, first of all, how cool is that? At one point in time, struggling whatever year that might be, and then things get better for them, and their first thing is, how do I give back and sponsor a family? So what was that about?
Yeah, I think that's, part of the magic of the holiday drive is that people who are able to turn themselves around and they want to give back, this is a great thing that they can give back to. We want all families to feel like they have a part on this drive, especially if they've been served by it. And so if they are in a position to come back and sponsor kids, it's amazing. It's just also part of like the magic of the youth center is that unless these families are sharing their story with us, we don't always know. And so I'm sure there's been a lot of families that have been able to help out, even buy a gift or two, and it's been pretty amazing over the years what people have come back to do.
Yeah, it truly is. It makes the whole thing real special. We actually every year get bombarded with our college kids that came home and some of our seniors in high school that actually work for us. Everybody wants to be part of Delivery Day. Why do these kids, and some of them, we had Kyle Pybus here who's been doing it for 13 years. This year we had about 4 or 5 people. It was their first year. What's it all about for them to be part of this?
Yeah, I think it's, college kids think it's like a rite of passage, and it really has become that way at the youth center. It's been a tradition of ours that you're not able to come into the holiday room until you're in college, and so it's been a really fun thing to just watch the freshmen in college, or even the older kids come back and be really excited to be part of this program. So we don't always have volunteer things for our college kids, but this is one of the big thing that it's a rite of passage. If you are in our program and you go off to college, you're able to come back and volunteer. And so it's one of the really fun parts about this drive, that it's specific for our college kids. We love to have them on board, and they love to come back and do it.
Yeah, and it's great to have them, and the age differences, but the same passion. And again, we're going to talk a little bit about this year's Delivery Day, but to have them back here, Becca Bonds the last couple of years has been amazing in terms of being here every day helping you, as well as other people. But we're going to probably have to do a lottery at some point, because so many kids want to be involved, and we want to try to get as many people to experience what we're going to talk about next. So you left here on Friday, half a day over at Lawrence High, probably a bunch of teachers heading out for lunch or whatever. You headed, along with Laura, headed to the multipurpose room to put our final bags together. We had some people dropping off some late gifts. It's awesome. We have sponsors that stepped up to take people that were on our waiting list. So we actually were able to give some of our parent sponsors a little extra time, and the rest of that stuff came in by Friday, and you wrapped it up. And around 4 o'clock, the lights are off at the multi-purpose room, and then we're ready to start at 8 o'clock in the morning. So this is your day. This is something that you are awesome with. Tell our listeners how it all starts, and take us through that magical day of Delivery Day.
Yeah, so on Delivery Day, I get here bright and early, ready to go. Everything is finalized. Our routes are finalized. The kids or the volunteers are divided up into who's going where, and everyone knows what route they're going. They know what presents they're taking with them. So we spend the first part of our morning, when everyone gets in, greeting each other and being super excited to be back. And then we get to business, and we load up all the vans and the cars in our elf hats, and we just get really excited for the day. We spend a little bit of time just doing some reminders about, what to say if kids were ever home and you deliver, reminders about, having the Christmas music going, and just making it a really fun day. After that, we sit and we have our final moment before we head out. Rick always tells us a really nice story, or, shares with us some sort of poem or story from the past, just to get us to reflect on the holiday season, how we should all be grateful and very thankful for what we all have, and just to set us out on the right foot when we head out to deliver. Then we head out to deliver our gifts. It takes us about 5 hours. When we get back to the youth center, we get to sit down and have lunch together, which, like Rick said earlier, is donated by Terry Holland, who's been awesome to us every year. So we get to have kind of like a family style lunch, which I think is, the perfect way to end our big day. We get to sit around the big table sharing stories and just laughing and being super happy to all be together.
Yeah, it's we also, besides the delivery, we started a few years ago of some people, it's easier for them to actually pick up at the youth center. So we have a whole portion of the day. This year, myself and Hannah Rogers were staying back at the youth center, because we did have probably about 10 families coming in to pick up their bags, and it's kind of emotional to hear how they were, in terms of how thankful they were. My part in the morning about kind of reminding all of our staff on the history of this program, the importance of this program. And to kind of leave you off with a real message is really important to me. I've enjoyed doing it every year, and obviously every year we come up with a new twist to it, new stories on new relations on. And I think when we send those kids out in their vans in the car, I think they really know how they're basically going to do something really magical today. You know, a couple of people we need to thank on that day are our good friend Tracy Bowden at TD Bank, who's so good to us here at the Youth Center. Provided us all with the TD Bank elf hats, which were pretty cool. And obviously, as we've mentioned a couple of times, Terry Holland, 17 years with providing lunch to all of our volunteers. As you know, Terry sends more food than we could ever eat. But that's a big piece of that day, and it's a chance for us to kind of debrief. Obviously, we're not fully done at the lunchtime. We've got some last few things to do, but it's a good chance for us to kind of share some stories about what happened and everything else. Obviously, in this day and age, we tend to get some last-minute referrals. As of 10 o'clock this morning, we haven't had anything new come in. We are able to actually help people through this day, but I think we're going to be good this year. Let me ask you a couple of things. How does people who are interested in hearing for the first time, Kathy Keenan down at the library asked me to keep her in mind for next year. How do people get in touch with you to maybe be sponsors in 2019?
Yeah. Anyone who's interested in being a sponsor can send me an email. My email's right on the Youth Center's webpage, or they can, call here and leave a message on my voicemail, or just ask anyone for my cell phone number. We work really hard at getting sponsors, and you'll see from time to time we'll be posting on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, just saying that we're starting the holiday process and we're in need. So come September time next year, just keep your eyes open or send me an email and we'll be connected.
So we actually signed you to a lifetime contract, but we do wait for you to decompress after the holidays. And, obviously we're hoping you're coming back next year. Like I said at the beginning, to have Kelly do it the first 10 years, and then we had pretty much someone doing it once every year, and building the consistency of you having it the last 6 years. You have this down to a science. I was amazed with how fast things went this Saturday. And thorough, and we always worry about did we deliver the right gifts to the right families, and everything was pretty flawless this year. In terms of, as you wrap up, you personally, what we think of you here. We love you. This could not happen without you. When you leave on Saturday, and Molly doesn't even live in our area right now. Mom and Dad are still in North Andover, but you're living down in the city. As you're maybe driving back down to the city, what are some of your thoughts?
I think it's just feeling like we got another year done and it was super successful. And everything that I've done here at the Youth Center, everything the Youth Center has done, I've always been really proud of. And I'm continue to be proud of this holiday drive, and just so grateful for everyone who comes back to help us, or everyone I've met through the holiday drive. I don't think we could ever put into words how amazing it is and how many connections you build and friendships you get from something like this. So every year that this wraps up, I'm just grateful that I had one more year that I was able to be part of it.
Yeah, and again, awesome job by you. When I go home after Saturday, I kind of think back to 1989 and Kelly and how this all started, and it's amazing. This year, we were highlighted a little bit in the North Shore magazine, and there was a great picture of you, outstanding picture of Molly, by the way. If you haven't seen it, you should get it. And again, the media doesn't quite get it all right. We're not doing a toy drive, I think, as they described in it, but it was some nice press for us about some of the stuff we're doing in here. It was actually a focus on shopping in North Andover, and with everything with the gas crisis or whatever, it was a nice piece on that whole thing. But we got we got some nice press with that, and it kind of showed people a little bit from outside of our town how special this is. We often get contacted on how we got this started, how do we do it, and with everything here at the youth center, we like to share the wealth. So if there are other communities out there looking to kind of start what we did, we can give you a little bit of advice of the do's and don'ts as you go forward on that. This is pretty much it. I mean, we're heading off. It's Christmas Eve. Molly's heading out to her family. I'll be heading back to my family, and it's a chance for us, hopefully, to get this podcast up tonight so people can listen to it over the holidays and kind of understand what we're really doing here and what we hope to continue to do. So, once again, Molly, thanks for, first of all, coming on the podcast. Second of all, thank you for being our Christmas queen now for 6 straight years, and you will be back here in 2019, and it's amazing that it's only been 9 months now, and we'll start it all over again. And hopefully this year, I think this year our total kids around 250. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And the way things are going, it might be 275 next year. So, on behalf of everybody here at the Youth Center, we could not do this without the residents of North Andover. Once again, the residents show how they take care of each other, and it's something really special that just continues with every cause in town, and our cause being one of those. So as we finish every podcast, and we will be back in the next couple of weeks with some new guests for 2019, but as we finish every podcast, remember, too much passion